Hello, and welcome to the studio today. Today we're going to be talking about Flux. It's a topic I wanted to give a little more information about and kind of what I've done to use it. The reason Flux is important is it actually prevents oxygen from reaching the heated metal, and that keeps it from essentially rusting. In different metals, it's not going to be like iron rusting the orange color, but in silver, it would be that dark, almost black patina, dark gray patina you see. That's actually the corrosion. So by heating the metal, it accelerates that substantially. And what the Flux does is it prevents it from corroding. And so it's probably one of the things you can't get around. You pretty much have to have it. It's just like welding. I don't know if you are familiar with welding. I believe it's TIG or MIG use a gas, and that pushes air away from the actual weld, which would create the same thing. And then if you're doing stick welding, that would be why they have the flux. You have to hammer it off to perfect it. Essentially, it protects the bead of new molten metal from rusting. So what I have here, this little bag here, this is what flux I've been using. Take a look at that. It's a borax. You can buy different types. This is from just a general, like I said, just pure borax. And this is a 5 mole grain, so it's kind of thick. It's about the size of maybe a sugar, a little thicker than sugar, like a heavy grain salt, maybe like a sea salt texture, which for my purposes has been far too thick, and so I'm actually not a huge fan of that. So what I've been doing, actually, I got this. There's different ways, obviously, but what I found works really well and was a really inexpensive way, at least for me to do it, was I bought this mortar and pestle, like spices. I got it like where we can find one of these. I got this at World Market, I believe, and so to pour some of this into there, but probably that's plenty there. So like about a tablespoon's worth, and then what I actually was doing was I actually took this and then ground it down. Create a finer paste, almost or a finer grit. So I sit here and I grind this down. And then once I got to a level I felt was consistent to the smaller rings and stuff, you want to cover it. So that bigger grain wasn't really covering it. But the smaller grain, it turns it almost to a paste, and I add some water into it. So I have a little spray bottle of some distilled water here. Add that into it. And then I take that, and then I grind it a bit more. And so what eventually you get is this kind of nice paste that brushes onto your material really nicely. And since it just dries when you're done, so you can just let it dry. And I've just been keeping it inside of this mortar and pestle. And whenever I do, I just add a little water to it, and then I have a little paintbrush and I paint it onto the thing. And so you'll see that action as we move farther into this series. But I wanted to share this one specifically because I found this was a really simple way to do it. It's kind of fun grinding it down, but yeah, you get this really nice consistency in here of almost a kind of a glue, or I should say like a paste, like a almost glue consistency, and then it goes really nicely onto your material, which obviously protects it and then will allow for better soldering results when you're putting the rings together. And so that's crucially important. A step you can't really work around, because if there's oxidation that gets created in there, you will have a weak joint and things can break, especially on these smaller pieces. So I know it's a quick one. I hope we leave you something there, and have a great day. Thank you.